Welcome to the show. Luis, how you doing, man?
Doing pretty good, Manny. How are you doing? Considering,
Yeah.
Now that we're on the same page, same boat.
I don't know how this happened, man.
Both our teams in the shitter. I'll tell you how it happened, man. You want me to tell you how it happened?
Go ahead. Wipe that shit eating smile off your face. I'm sorry, man.
For those of you who listen to the show for quite some time, please go back to our preseason predictions, where a friend of mine who sits across from me in this podcast booth here, AL Cy Young, Garrett Cole, most comeback player of the year, Giancarlo Stanton, MVP, Aaron Judge, Silver Slugger, Hank Aaron Award winner, DJ LeMahieu, Roberto Clemente Award, Miguel Andujar. I mean, you were just going off, man. Best record in baseball, #1 seed. I mean, dude, but the good thing is that I'm here for you, man. I quit on the season weeks ago.
Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Seriously, though, so we can't even use injuries as an excuse anymore. Like, I get it. Judge is out, Stanton is out, Paxton is out. But for the most part, most of your team is still there. Glaber's playing, Gary's playing, DJ LeMahieu's playing.
Well, Glaber just came back, so.
Yeah, but it's not like he missed that much time. He was supposed to – I thought he was going to miss most of the season. He came back pretty quick.
What I mean is that the Yankees have been in this skid for how long now? Like, it's been like the last 17 games or so that they've been struggling. So I wouldn't say Glaber's been back for that entire stretch.
And even so, Glaber has been around for a lot of – he's been around for most of the games. And Glaber's hitting – he has just one home run and 6 RBIs this season so far. And that's not including today's game. I'm not sure what's happening. For the season, yeah.
For the season, yeah. No, Glaber hasn't done anything.
He's hitting 233 with a 660 OPS. Yeah. How could you win? How could you win like that? Gary Sanchez, 48 Ks and 110 plate appearances, not including tonight. 130 average, again, not including tonight's games. 587 OPS. Brett Gardner, 170 average, 603 OPS. You have Chad Green in the last 7 games, 6.1 innings pitched, 8 earned runs, 4 home runs given up. He has an 11.37 ERA. Aroldis Chapman came back from COVID. Sucks. Ottavino this season. Sucks. I mean, at some point, you have to wonder if Judge was around and Stan was around. Yes, the team would be slightly better, but how much better? Because I'm going to tell you what the problem is, CT. I took some notes here. The problem is the offense is anemic, but thankfully your starting pitching is doing enough to keep you in the game. Like right now, J-Hap just went 6 innings and allowed 2 runs. The problem is the bullpen. The bullpen in those first set of games up to 8-17, when the Yankees were 16-6 and had the best record in baseball, the bullpen had 9 saves and only 1 blown save. Since then, they're 5-14, not including tonight. Their bullpen has a 4.63 ERA, and they've only saved 3 games and blown 8 of them. So, say they save those 8 games, you go from having a 21-20 record to a 29-12 record, and you're first in the AL again, best record in the American League. That's the problem right there. And that used to be our strength was our bullpen. And now Britton is back, so you can't use that as an example. Canley's gone, but that's just one arm. What the fuck? This is crazy.
Yeah, in yesterday, like you dropped 2 games to the Orioles in that series?
Lost 3 out of 4 to the Orioles. 3 out of 4 after winning 19 straight.
Yeah, you haven't seen that in a while from the Yankees. But going back to last night's game, the offense did its part. I think you guys had you guys were up like 4-0. It was like 6 runs of anything. The Blue Jays came all the way back and scored 10 runs in an inning. So the bullpen was at fault for last night's game. But yep. I was watching the game before, and Tajon Walker walked like 5 batters in 5 innings, loaded the bases twice, second and third in 1 inning, and the Yankees didn't do anything with it. They didn't score any runs on Tajon Walker, who was all over the place today. And you would think that a guy like Luke Voigt, who's actually hitting really good, DJ LeMahieu came up with the bases loaded. I'm pretty sure he did. Clint Frazier, Miguel Andujar, Mike Tauchman, who everybody was on his jock at the beginning of the season. If you guys can take that back.
Tauchman's getting on base, but he's not hitting home runs. He has more steals than he does home runs. And Aaron Hicks also hitting close to the Mendoza line, but at least he's getting on base. He has like a 370 on base percentage. But speaking of Hicks, getting thrown out in third base, you stole second already. Why are you getting greedy? Why are you trying to take third too? Fucking just, you're in scoring position. They're pressing now. This team is pressing, and they can feel it. And they have the Orioles,
breathing down their neck. Yep, they're whooping. They're whooping the Mets. They're whooping the Mets as we speak, and they're only a game and a half back for the 8th seed.
The Detroit Tigers are right there. The Seattle Mariners won, I think, 6 straight. I don't know how they're doing tonight or if they've played yet. So yeah, if the Orioles win tonight and the Yankees lose, the Yankees are only ahead of the Orioles by half a game. So I know that a week or two ago, I pretty much guaranteed the Yankees are going to make the postseason. I didn't expect them to be this bad. I didn't think there was a chance that they were this bad. At this point now, I believe that they don't deserve to make the postseason. I wouldn't be shocked if they didn't make the postseason. In fact, I think they deserve to not make the postseason. This is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, man. I'm so fucking pissed. Like in my lifetime, I've seen bad Yankees baseball, but in my as a person who grew up and my first game was in 1993, since then, I haven't seen a bad Yankee season, essentially. This is the worst I've seen this team play, and it's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed for this team.
Yeah, I was gonna make a comment that the Yankees don't deserve to be in the position they're in because, let's be honest, man, can any of the teams that are hanging around in the 8th seed or right below that, like the 9th seed, 10th seed, or whatever, can any of those teams? And there's a fly in my room. I don't know if you can tell.
I saw it a couple times.
Whack the shit out of it, but.
There he is.
Gonna just fight super hard to ignore it. It's right there. Like, can we really think that any of those teams, like the Orioles or the Mariners, or any of those teams are gonna sustain it for the next 2 weeks to really keep that 8th seed? No, I don't think so. I think the Yankees are still gonna make it to the playoffs. And in typical Yankee fashion, Aaron Judge will be healed and he'll be back, and Giancarlo Stanton will be back, and Garrett Cole will be Garrett Cole of last year. And they'll sweep their way through to the World Series, like in typical Yankee fashion. But in that sense, no, I don't think the Yankees deserve to be in the playoffs. No, they don't deserve that shit, because this is the same lineup that shattered the home run record right before the Twins shattered the home run record, I believe, last year. And you had all these guys stepping up, next man up mentality. So you're dealing with a similar thing. The only guys I could think of are Stanton and Judge out of the lineup. You still got a lot of good hitters in that lineup. You should be winning these games. But I also got to give it up to the Blue Jays, man. They have to win these games, and they're stepping up.
And the rest days. The rest days are fucking killing me at this point with the Yankees. Like, DJ LeMahieu didn't want to be rested on Saturday. They rested him. Gleyber Torres comes back Saturday. He's rested on Sunday. They don't want him to play 2 days in a row. I don't understand. It's
a
60-game season. Yeah. Nobody should have an off day in a 60-game season. I'm sorry, it just doesn't make sense. And real quick, just some numbers on the Yankee offense. They started the season, like I said, 16-6 record. That's the best record in Major League Baseball. Since then, they've gone 5-14, and they're 21-20 total. The record, that 5-14 record, that stretch where they went 5-14. That's a 263 win-loss percentage, the 4th worst in baseball. Currently, the run differential is +4, the worst of any playoff contending team in the American League. When they were in first place with that 16-6 record, they were first in F-WAR, slugging, WOBA, and WRC+. Currently, they're 17th in F-WAR, 12th in WRC+, 13th in WOBA, 15th in slugging. This team is an embarrassment right now, and I think the run differential in that time, I wrote a piece about this yesterday, is -29, 4th worst in the entire league. They don't deserve it. It's crazy. It doesn't make any sense. And like I said, 2 guys are out, Judge and Stanton. That's it. And Paxton. for the starting rotation. This team should not be this bad.
Yeah, with Paxton's struggle, you don't even know what kind of position you'd be in. Do you think that the Yankees should have made a better effort to acquire some guys at the trade deadline, considering that your bullpen is struggling and your starting pitching pretty much is what it is at this point? Like, that's the starting pitching you came into in the start of the season, unless you consider Severino like the key asset to everything that was supposed to go right. I don't think so. I think Severino's kind of overrated.
What an asshole.
I gotta call it like it is, man. But are you upset that they didn't go out and get anybody?
No, because at the time I was happy that I felt like it was a sign that we're gonna stick with these guys with Clint Frazier and Miguel Andujar. By the way, Miguel Andujar is heating up. I'm not even sure if he's playing tonight. Shit like that pisses me off.
He hit a screaming line drive at the wall today. Yeah.
So I'm okay with that, but I think that this offseason, even if we make the playoffs, unless we win the World Series and these guys fucking turn it all around, this offseason, I think you have to send a message, just like you did in 2017 when you fired Joe Girardi, even though he took you to a Game 7 of an ALCS. I think you have to trade somebody big and say, like, nobody's indispensable here. Be it eating some of Giancarlo Stanton's contract and trading him to like the worst team in the league or some shit, or Gary Sanchez, or somebody has to go. I'm sorry, but I think that's where we need to go here. I think that's the level that we're getting at, and I think that Brian Cashman needs to. I'm an analytics guy. I get it. The numbers, I understand the numbers, the strategies. The rest days are fucking bullshit. And I'm sorry, there's games I've seen where guys are cruising and you're taking them out of the game for a bullpen arm. Like, come on, man. Like,
yeah,
I don't understand.
I gotta be honest with you, man. This is just me bridging gaps over here and just trying to talk shit. Doesn't it feel like Aaron Boone was hired just to answer questions, and that it doesn't really matter who was the manager in terms of like how they would handle the bullpen or who would rest on what day and who gets to play this position, who gets to do what, because Aaron Boone does a poor job of holding players accountable. And that's something that Joe Girardi was good at, like naming names and like holding players accountable. So it feels like, in 2017, what was it, Game 7 of the ALCS?
Mm-hmm.
That team was handed to Aaron Boone along with James Paxton and whatever acquisitions they made. He won back-to-back seasons of 100 games or more. But it's like now that the Yankees are struggling, it's the same Aaron Boone. He hasn't really changed the way his tone. I know he's frustrated, but I think fans want to see some blood in in those press conferences, and it almost seems like it's all being ran by analytics, and Aaron Boone was just the perfect candidate to say the right thing no matter what. No matter what, if Gary Sanchez has a pass ball and decides to just roll on his stomach and kick dirt or something, Aaron Boone isn't going to call him out in the game afterwards.
Yeah, I think that's why he was brought here, because Girardi was the polar opposite, and I think they wanted someone who was player friendly. Mm-hmm. Which is usually what you do when you go from a manager who's strict, you go to a player-friendly manager. When that stops working, you go to a tougher manager. Like the Houston Astros went from A.J. Hinch to Dusty Baker. I know that Dusty Baker is player-friendly, but he's old school. He's probably going to hold you more accountable than someone like A.J. Hinch would. But I think that you're making a great point, and another big point to this is that I read news reports today that Brian Cashman held a team meeting. Yeah. Why is Brian Cashman holding the team meeting?
Exactly. That's what made me think. It's like,
shouldn't Aaron Boone hold the team meeting?
If I was the manager, I'd be holding guys by the neck, be like, "Yo, listen, like you're gonna stop this. You're gonna stop this shit. If they put the shift on you, you're gonna lay a bunt down to the third base side or something. Like
that's what you need right now.
It shouldn't be Brian. It almost makes me think Brian Cashman is the brains behind everything we see. In the game at game time, it makes me think like he's the one calling the shots. Because why is he the one giving that team meeting? What is that about?
I don't understand. So yeah, I don't get it. I think how many games are left in the season? What's the record right now? The Yankees are 21-20, so that's 41 games. There's 19 games left, including the one being played tonight. You're 2 games behind the Blue Jays. and the Orioles, the Tigers, and the Mariners are breathing down your neck.
And you face the Blue Jays again,
8 more times after tonight.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have opportunities, but time is running out, and you better not take this shit for granted. Like this isn't given to you. You got to earn it. You want to be World Series champions. You gotta work for it. At the same time, we're still 9 games ahead of the Boston Red Sox, man. How bad are you guys? I'm sorry, I got to throw in a little cheap shot in there. I need something to feel better about right now.
We're horrible, but I mean, at this point, what the hell, man? Like, look what we started the season with. Look at us.
Okay, excuses. So
we could bash the Red Sox if you want. I don't even watch the Red Sox games anymore. Barely. I catch like the glimpses that I get when like, you know, Mitch Moreland hits a home run or Devers hits a home run or Xander Bogaerts is up to bat. Like when I get the little notification through my fantasy baseball, because I have Xander Bogaerts and I have like JD Martinez, I'll catch that part of the Red Sox games. But it sucks watching the Red Sox when we just have no pitching. It's like any lead that we have is never safe. Kind of like how the Yankees are going through right now. Mm-hmm. But let me just say this. I find it kind of interesting after last night's game. Adam Ottavino gives up the grand slam, blows the inning wide open for the Blue Jays. And it just didn't feel like a Yankee answer when they asked him. It's like, how quickly can you forget about what just happened and keep moving? And his answer was something like, you know what, my personality is kind of tough. It's not easy to get over these things. Like that just didn't even feel like a baseball answer. Right. Like
and I heard that we're making excuses, the pitchers, that they couldn't see the catcher's signs or some shit. Like
I heard about that, but I didn't even bother to like, you know.
So did for the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays, then there's the same situation for the other team. Like, don't use that shit as an excuse. I don't want to hear that shit. Yeah. Like, just take responsibility and forget about. Like at this point, you kind of have to have here. I'm gonna throw the Red Sox in here for a good reason now. You kind of have to have the mentality of the 04 Red Sox at this point. Play every game as if it's the last game of the season. That's it. One game at a time. Focus on tomorrow. I think it was Mariano Duncan for the Yankees in '96 said, "We play today, we win today. That's it. That's it. That's all you got to do." Like
I think that the fact that they got rid of a guy like Girardi who was more strict and on top of players, holding them accountable. All this stuff about like you got to start playing your part. The Brian Cashman meeting. Players knowing that they hit this skid and they're struggling. I don't know, man. It doesn't look good for guys like Gary Sanchez. We think he might break out, and I wish I had some real wood to knock on. This is fake wood in front of me right here, but I said something similar. I thought that, you know, every time I feel like I call a player out or a team out, they just turn it around. But I'm gonna say, man, Gary Sanchez is going to really test his mental stability and how he can handle these situations. Let me throw this your way, Manny. Could it be that both the Red Sox and the Yankees, a year after the Astros were caught in their scandal, they had to do away with their sign stealing, scheme, and that this is the result? You don't have guys like, well, I mean, Luke Voigt is still hitting, but whoever else stepped it up, Gio Urshela, all these guys that were hitting last year, could it just be that the Yankees and the Red Sox put away their schemes and are now playing like this is the real product of what we're seeing?
I don't think so. I mean, all
right, hey, take it easy.
All right, sorry, man. I think that, to be honest, like DJ LeMahieu was hitting out of this world to start the season. He was the only hitter at 400. There's going to be a correction at some point. I think he's going through that correction right now.
Yeah, he's solid.
Gio Urshela was having a great season. I could never say that guy's name. And now he's hurt, of course. You have Stanton and Judge are out. I'm not trying to make excuses. Gary Sanchez, I can't even explain. Maybe the Gary Sanchez of 2 years ago when he hit like 197 or some shit, maybe that's the real Gary Sanchez. And I know that people will throw out stats that he's still like in the top 5 catchers and some hitting statistics and shit. What I'm seeing right now is it's not major league caliber. And in my opinion, I think he's just trying to smack the shit out of everything. And it's like, just make some contact here. At this point, just try to fucking put the bat on the ball and that's it. Like, that's all you need to focus on at this point. Gleyber Torres, I don't even know. 1 home run, 6 RBIs after the season you had last year, after playing 10 games in Baltimore. this year, and you couldn't smack home runs in that stadium this year. Like, I don't know what's happening. Maybe we're just not as good as I thought we were. You know what I mean? I'm gonna start crying now, man. Maybe we're just not that good. I don't know. And Garrett Cole, people are shitting on Garrett Cole. He hasn't been that bad, and he kind of. I feel like there's a lot of pressure on starting pitching right now because of what I said before. 8 blown saves since they were in first place with the best record in baseball. And I think Garrett Cole's trying to do too much. He's giving up a lot of home runs. He gave up a lot of home runs last year too, though. And he should have been Cy Young, in my opinion. And I wrote a piece about Garrett Cole through his first 8 starts last season compared to this season. This season's numbers are better than last season's. So you're getting exactly what you paid for here. Your offense isn't scoring runs, and your bullpen isn't closing the door. And those are supposed to be your team's 2 biggest strengths. And
I don't think
they're not right now.
I don't think Garrett Cole is the problem, man. I really think the lineup has been horrible, and like compared to what we think they should have been.
Right. And
today's game proves it, man. I'm telling you, Tajon Walker was all over the place, man. You have no excuse when you have that many opportunities. I want to see the stat at the end of the game of runners left on base in scoring position, scoring position left on, because in the 5 innings that I saw, had to be at least 7 runners.
Crazy.
Every inning.
He gave up 5 walks and I think 2 hits. So 7 runners on base, and you couldn't score a run. Whatever. I'm done.
Let it out, man.
With the Yankees. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. All right. Let's move on to the next topic. Let's talk about the playoff picture. If you guys haven't done so already, you go to our website, WTTSpod.com. We are updating the current postseason picture across the league on a daily basis. So go check that out right now. We're going to talk about it real quick. So currently, as it stands, not including what's going on tonight, in the American League, you have the Tampa Bay Rays as the 1 seed, the Cleveland Indians as the 2 seed, and that's I think they're tied with the White Sox, but the Cleveland Indians have a better run differential by 1 run. The 3rd seed is the Oakland A's, 4 is the White Sox, 5 is the Blue Jays, 6 is the Astros, who lost and are 21-21 now, so they're probably going to drop off. I'm not sure. The 7th seed is the Twins, and the 8th seed are the New York Yankees. Any surprises in there?
Well, that the Yankees are the 8th seed. The White Sox being 4th is pretty nice. I wasn't expecting them to be so high.
Technically tied with the Indians. They had sole possession of first place yesterday. They had the 3 seed all to themselves, or the 2 seed rather. That's
pretty nice to see right there. And I got to give it up to the Astros, man. I mean, but they're beating the teams they should be beating, and they're still so against the better teams. But the Astros in there, man. A-Rod picked them as the dark horse to win the World Series, and they're hanging in there.
They might drop off, though. They lost again. They're 21-21. If the Baltimore Orioles, you said they're going to win, right? They're beating
definitely
the Mets.
I mean, anything's possible with the Orioles, but they are whooping the Mets' ass right now, yeah.
So then they would be a half game over Baltimore for the Yankees too. Actually, if the Yankees lose tonight, they'll be tied. So they're going to be tied with the Astros for the 8th seed, and then the Orioles would be a half a game behind both of them.
I gotta say, the Rays, man, they lost last night. Max Scherzer pitched a great game, and they're losing again to the Nationals, man. The Nationals have not been good this year.
I'm surprised.
That's crazy, man, but that's baseball.
That is baseball. So one thing that I don't like about the way the playoff picture is determined is how they're picking the top 2 teams in each division and then the 2 best third place record. I don't like that because you have teams like the Minnesota Twins who are way better than the Houston Astros, the Yankees, and the Toronto Blue Jays this season. They're all the way down in the 7th seed when they should be probably the 5 seed. And this is more apparent in the National League where the Padres have a .605 win-loss percentage and they're the 4 seed, whereas the Braves and the Cubs have worse records than they do. I think they should have done like the NBA and just take the top 8 teams based on record instead of going division.
But I feel
you know
like
what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I agree with you, especially in such a crazy year that we're having. But I feel like that's the issue every year. I mean, I feel like we run into a similar situation every year when the Yankees, the year that the Red Sox won the World Series, the Yankees won 100 and how many games was it? Like 101,
Yeah, and they were the wild, they
102
were the wild
games,
card or
and
something.
they were the wild card team. So, you know, is always going to be a situation. I think every year we're going to have situations like this.
Yeah, there was a situation.
But in a year where teams are playing each other more often than not, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Like, for example, this is the most updated one. The one from the day before, I think, is the one where I saw the discrepancy. Like, it was it was insane. Oh, I updated daily, so I can't see it. But anyway, there was a situation where there was a team that was sub 500 and they were ranked higher than a team that was over 500 in the National League. Like,
Probably the Marlins.
that's the type of shit that's gonna happen. You know what I mean? All right, National League. What's up?
What kind of surprises are you seeing for the American
AL?
League? Did you expect
Angels
the Blue
are so
Jays
bad?
to be the Angels? No, well, I was talking about the playoff picture, but yeah, you're right.
The Angels are so bad. The Mariners are better than they are. Again, I don't know what the Mariners score currently is, but they've won 6 straight, and they're right there with the Yankees and the Baltimore Orioles and the Houston Astros now. But the biggest surprise for me is that the White Sox, that they were the kings of the Central, and that the Minnesota Twins are third in the Central right now.
Yeah.
That the Blue Jays are. I didn't think the Blue Jays were gonna be this good this year. I thought they would be better, but not this good.
Yeah, I mean they should be better. They were horrible last year, but again, like for them to be fifth.
And the Twins are dealing with a lot of injuries too. I think they've lost a lot of people. So I get it, but they're picking shit up now. And the last time they've won 7-3 in their last 10 games. So that's your American League. Let's look at the National League real quick. 1 seed is the Dodgers, probably the best team in fucking baseball history at this point.
Yeah.
2 seed, you have the Braves. 3 seed Cubs. 4 Padres, 5 Phillies, 6 Cards, 7 Miami, and 8 Colorado Rockies. And the San Francisco Giants are right there. The San Francisco Giants had possession of the 8 seed yesterday. They keep going back and forth. Like every day it switches that 8 seed.
Gotta be honest with you, man. Between obviously the Marlins, but I don't think the Marlins have played enough games as the other teams. I don't know if they've made up those games yet, but I don't think the Marlins are going to hang in there any much longer. I think the Giants are the biggest surprise here.
Yeah.
Because I could have sworn they were tanking this season.
Me too. This guy Yastrzemski, what the fuck?
And I got to say that also I'm surprised that the Rockies are hanging in there as well too. Like they're not in the rankings right now, I don't think. But the fact that they were the AC like not too long ago is surprising.
Now, currently.
Oh, they are. I'm sorry.
Let me see if it changed. No, they're still the 8 seed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Them and the Giants are the 2 biggest shockers to me.
I agree.
In the National League.
And the Brewers have been going in and out of that 8 seed. Yeah, a lot of teams are in it. The Mets are just 2 games behind the Colorado Rockies. So the Mets could make an appearance at some point. The Cincinnati Reds, who I had taking the Central, are in 4th place, but they're only 2 games behind again the Rockies. So there's a lot of teams in it. The only teams that are every team is mathematically in it, but teams that have a less than like 3% of getting in are the Nationals, the Pirates, and the Arizona Diamondbacks. Everybody else has a 25% or higher chance of making to the postseason. So the National League is on fire right now.
And the Braves just lost Max Fried.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Max Fried having a phenomenal season. So that could have quite the impact. Shout out to the Phillies.
Yeah.
They've been ripping it. 7 games won in their last 10. Shout out to Bryce Harper, my MVP candidate for the 2020 season. I don't know what else to say, Manny.
The Max Fried news. Shout out to Pitcher List because they posted something a couple days ago. I'm trying to find it, but they noticed that a pattern in Max Fried's velocity throughout his starts, and it's gone down dramatically. And then today you find out that he goes on the IL. So And knowing that, it's impressive how he was pitching because he was a Cy Young candidate in the National League for sure. I think he was your Cy Young, and then you fucked up his season. Good job.
In the National League, no, I don't think it was, but that's why we have the replay button on YouTube. Okay. Go back and check.
So yeah.
Also,
that's the
shout out to Max Scherzer for still being an elite pitcher, man. Like, this guy is made of rubber, I guess. I don't know. He's made of something from another world.
I say the Yankees trade away. Let me get Gary Sanchez for Max Scherzer.
Should have gotten rid of Gary Sanchez a long time ago.
I'll take on Scherzer's $34 million next year and give them Gary Sanchez's whatever, $10 million,
worth it,
whatever
man.
he's getting.
He's worth it. He's worth it. You're joking, but he's worth it.
One season. Let's talk about, in honor of Roberto Clemente, our Babe Ruth, our Jackie Robinson, so to speak. Although I don't think he was the first Latino ball player in the league. I'm pretty sure there were some others. Some of us are of the fair complexion, and we can get away with shit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Probably not a good way to start this video, but anyway, we felt like so Major League Baseball is giving baseball players permission, mainly Puerto Rican players, to wear number 21 in honor of Roberto Clemente. The Pittsburgh Pirates, the entire team are gonna wear number 21 for Roberto Clemente Day tomorrow, 9/9 today. You're watching this. So we figured let's rank our top 10 players of Puerto Rican descent. But there's a little catch to this. We weren't around during Clemente's time or during Cepeda's time or Jose Cruz or a lot of these other legendary Puerto Rican players. So we're going to exempt them from this list, but we know that you guys are great. We're going to rank the players that we saw play in our lifetimes.
Yeah.
Anything you want to say about Roberto Clemente Day?
I just want to say that if he was included in this list, he'd be the clear-cut number one.
Yeah.
For Puerto Rican-born players, he's by far in first place in WAR. He's the only Puerto Rican player with 3,000 hits. I think statistically, he's a better player than the guy I have ranked at number one, besides home runs. Just a little foreshadowing there. But the guy was a beast. And I just love watching his videos. He's one of the guys that I always go back to watch the videos because he was always hustling, playing his heart out. So really grateful for guys like Roberto Clemente.
I just want to mention real quick, I don't know if you have any, but I don't have any pitchers in my list.
So I kind of had a pitcher, but looking at my list, I'm not gonna include him. Because there's only one guy, Puerto Rican-born guy, that would be on the list in terms of longevity. I think we're thinking of the same guy. You want to just
Javier Vasquez?
Javier Vasquez, but he was never maybe one season in his career he pitched like an all-star, and we can fact check that. Did he ever even go to an all-star? Was he ever even nominated for one? I don't know, but to me he was on this list because of longevity and because he's probably the pitcher with the highest WAR for Puerto Rican-born players.
Mm-hmm. So
that doesn't say much.
Javi was an average pitcher. He had a 4.22 ERA. He was mainly a National League pitcher, though he did spend 5 seasons in the AL. I remember him as a Yankee. That was the one season he made the All-Star game. Go ahead. Say your comments or whatever about Yankee bias and all that shit. I don't know.
No, man. I wasn't going to say
I remember him being decent and then kind of falling off. He ended up finishing the season with a 14-10 record. That was 2004, actually, the year of the collapse. A 4.91 ERA and 1.288 WHIP on Baseball Reference. So, yeah, I kept him off my list, too. There's just too many good hitters, and I couldn't put him up there, man. Sorry.
Yep. All right. No problem.
All right. So real quick, before we get into our top 10, I want to point out a couple of stats. One of them was what my friend Luis here said was that Clemente leads everybody in WAR. The second thing is, by the way, the second place is Carlos Beltran, who has a 70.1 WAR, I think it was, or 70.05.
70.05.
70.05. The Puerto Rican home run leader is Carlos Delgado with 473. Underrated, should be in the Hall of Fame, by the way.
Mhm.
Beltran is next with 433. Clemente leads all Puerto Rican hitters with 3,000 hits, which you said. He also leads with the highest batting average of 317. The next man is Robbie Alomar, who has a career 300. Alomar leads all Puerto Ricans with 474 stolen bases. Delgado leads with OPS. In OPS, he has a 929 career OPS. Juan Gonzalez is next with a 904 OPS. Juan Gonzalez, by the way, one of the most
feared
hitters and one of the most
Yankee killer.
All right, enough already. And
that's Puerto Rico's David Ortiz right there, right?
And one of the most imitatable batting stances of all time. Just look it up, and
him and Miguel Andujar have a really similar violent
swing, yeah,
helicopter swing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He held his bat all the way up here. I don't even know how he swung that shit. Anyway, I just wanted to point those things out. Let's go to our list. We'll start with 10. You share yours, I'll share mine, and we'll talk about it a little bit. Hit us.
All right. So, like I was saying before, I couldn't decide on number 10. I was gonna give it to Javier Vasquez just because he's the one pitcher. He would have been the one pitcher on this list, and because of longevity, he's number 1 in WAR in terms of Puerto Rican born pitchers. Although that doesn't say much because there aren't too many, but I'm giving it to Javi Baez, number 10.
Wow.
And that's what I'm saying, man. I really couldn't figure out who would be number 10. And I wanted to give it to Javi Baez because to me, he's like that household name of that new age baseball. And I think that says a lot because the league is super saturated with talent right now. And he stands out. And he had an MVP caliber season last year or the year before. I don't remember. But he's upped his home run output. He's amazing at playing his position, plays multiple positions. I think he embodies Puerto Ricans. But then, just because, not that I care about WAR, but you would be shocked to know Carlos Correa has a way better WAR than Javi Baez. So to me, better.
That's surprising.
It is surprising, man. That's why I think that stat is bullshit. But then again, Roberto Clemente by far has the highest WAR of any Puerto Rican-born player. And if you rank those players by WAR, it kind of makes sense. Like the stat does show something, but I think it leaves a lot to be desired. So to me, number 10, I couldn't decide between Javi Baez and Carlos Correa. I didn't want to give it to Carlos Correa because you know how we feel about him on the show.
Mm-hmm.
So I gave it to Javi Baez.
When you get to number 9, I'm gonna guess who your 9 is. Based on that, I think I know who it is. But my number 10 is Yadier Molina. So let's preface this with that I'm slightly older than you are. So I'm sure that there's 1 or 2 players on this list that I saw that you probably didn't see, or that I remember rather that you didn't remember. But Yadi falls on that list at number 10 for me, for a lot of reasons. First off, he comes from a family of catchers. You had Benji, Yadier, Jose Molina, and he's the best of all 3. He's been playing for fucking 75 years, it seems like. He's the leader of the St. Louis Cardinals. And yeah, I just think he's to me, he embodies Puerto Rico perfectly. A proud dude, lots of swagger. Yadi Molina's number 10 for me.
Okay. Respect.
Let me guess your number 9 real quick.
We have a way different list, by the way, just based off what you said, but
yeah,
this is gonna be funny.
Your number 9 is Francisco Lindor.
Number 9, I got Francisco Lindor. I think when it's all said and done, he might be top 5 on the list of Puerto Rican-born players. Every year since he's been in the league, he's produced, can hit for power, and also another player that embodies Puerto Rico, sticks out, young player in today's age. I think he's the face of the Indians.
Future Yankee.
Maybe. By the way, man, I should have said something about the Yankees before. I'm not going to say it here. I'll say it somewhere else. His lowest finish, not including his rookie season, but he finished in 15th in MVP voting last year. That was his lowest in MVP voting. every year since he's been in the league. 2 Gold Gloves, 2 Silver Sluggers. Just good all around. Plays shortstop, which I think is the hardest position in baseball. And yeah, man, I think he's another one. Represents Puerto Rico the right way. So he's number 9 for me.
Nice. For me, number 9 is, I'm gonna throw you way off course here, man. Reuben Sierra, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh,
do you remember Reuben Sierra?
Of course, yeah. I was thinking about putting him on the list, but go ahead.
Okay, Reuben Sierra played for a long ass time in baseball and was one of those kind of quiet players. Like, you didn't hear so much about him, but he was an assassin for me, at least. For the Yankees in the postseason, was a monster in 2003. I know they lost the World Series, but he hit 500 in the ALCS. ALCS against Boston in 04, 333. 2005 ALDS against the Angels, 333. I know that they lost all those series, but was a beast and played a long time, played on a lot of teams. But if I'm going to follow this list by how I'm calculating it, which I don't know if you want me to reveal, I'm picking Ruben Sierra. I think he's very underrated. His WAR doesn't represent what he really means to his team, in my opinion.
No, yeah, you make a good point, and longevity plays a big part here. I mostly remember Ruben Sierra for his Yankees and, early 2000 performances.
A lot of stints with the Yankees. One of those guys that just kept coming back. He was there in 95.
Yeah, he had his moments.
Came back in the 2000s. Love Ruben Sierra. I
like Ruben Sierra, but he didn't make my list. Mostly because of what you said, underrated, but was a quiet guy to me. I didn't even feel like he was a presence half the time, like unless he was hitting a home run, which is cool, which is what he was there to do. But just saying, man, he's not on my list.
All right, man. Fuck you too. Number 8. Who do you got for number 8?
Number 8 for me, man, is Juan Gonzalez.
Nice.
3rd on the list of all time for Puerto Rican-born players in home runs. 1 less than Carlos Beltran. Let me just double check that real quick. Yep. 1 less home run than Carlos Beltran in 3 less years. Feared hitter, Yankee killer. I think this guy was a beast. He did have that accusation of taking steroids. So to me, that's why he's a little bit lower on the list for me. And what more can I say, man? Watch this guy's highlights and just watch him destroy some baseballs, man. This guy would hit 50 home runs in this new age juiced baseball era. And he had a bunch of seasons where he hit 40 home runs. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 seasons of 40 home runs or more. Then he had a 35 home run season, 2 MVPs with the Texas Rangers, and other MVP finishes in other seasons, and silver sluggers all over the place. That's number 8.
I agree. He's my number 8 too. Juan Gonzalez.
Damn, there we go, man.
Probably the only time we're ever gonna agree, man. Probably the only time we're ever gonna agree. Like I said, imitatable batting stance, was a dynamic player for like 10 seasons there. Too bad he went to waste with the steroid accusations. You saw his numbers go down after that. But still, one of the greats.
Yep.
Of all time. A quiet assassin too. Like, you don't hear about this guy anymore. All right, number 7.
All right, man. This is where we get into a little bit of you're gonna get a boner, and I'm gonna be like, hey, man, calm it down, throw some water on yourself.
Let's go.
Number 7 for me. And originally he was gonna be my number 10, but numbers don't lie. Jorge Posada is number 7.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just want to confirm 5 championships with the New York Yankees.
So Posada was there in 90. He wasn't. Girardi was the catcher in 96, but I think he was technically there.
No, Posada was on the Yankees. Yeah, he was with the Yankees in 96. I wouldn't know if that would count as like his World Series, but
I is one of the things, and this another member that's on my list, won with the Yankees in that time span too, except for 2009, and they always leave them off of the whole core four shit. This other member, the Yankees just lost, by the way. Turn on my TV. Let's turn that off right there. Don't need to watch that. The person that they left off is, for me, is more of a member of the core four than Posada was. That's all I have to say. But yeah, yes, 5 championships.
I know where you're going with this. So just to throw this out there, Yadier Molina is headed for the Hall of Fame. Can we agree?
Yeah, for sure.
Statistically, Jorge Posada is a better hitter in every category than Yadier Molina. And I don't even think Jorge Posada was on a ballot, was he? Or he's no longer on a ballot. He would still be there. It's still within the 10-year range of his retirement. But I don't think there's any way Jorge Posada gets into the Hall of Fame. And this guy won, let's just say it's 4 championships, since we don't want to count the 96 one. What separates him from Yadier Molina is the Gold Gloves, I would say, and the fact that Yadier Molina is the leader of the Cardinals. Jorge Posada was part of the core four, if you want to call it that way. Yadier Molina is known for calling the games and, steering his pitchers in the right direction. I don't think the Yankees were ever known for pitching, but Jorge Posada was known for hitting. I think he was a great hitter for a catcher. I'm pretty sure he's in a bunch of top 10 categories in catching, hitting statistics. I'm not going to go through all of them. I think I've said enough about Jorge Posada. That's my number. What was this? Number 7? Number 6?
Number 7. Mine is going to be a surprise to you, man. It's going to come straight out of left field, but I'm going Mike Lowell. Third baseman, Mike Lowell. Wow. Part of that 04 team that crushed my heart. Was he? No, he was part of the 03 team and the 07 Red Sox team.
Yeah.
But Mike Lowell, again, one of those quiet guys who was deadly, man. I mean, I know he has a career 279 batting average, but he made 4 All-Star games, was in the MVP running in 2003 and a Silver Slugger. He's hit, let's see, he has 100 or more RBIs, 90 RBI seasons all throughout the board. One of those guys that was just fundamentally like almost perfect on the field and a solid bat. So I go Mike Lowell as my number 7. Yeah. And by the way, since you mentioned Posada, I'm just going to get it out of the way. Posada is my number 6 too.
Okay.
And I just want to point out, I just saw on Baseball Reference, Posada he's not included in the 96 championship. So this kind of makes my case of the whole core four nonsense a little more, because Bernie too has, I just gave it away. Bernie too has 4 championships with the Yankees. So they both have 4. Bernie was there from the start. Posada came in a little bit later. I know he's homegrown and stuff, but stop excluding Bernie. I know core 4 rhymes, but can we fucking include Bernie in there somehow? So I want to just quick correction. Mike Lowell was part of the 2003 Marlins who won the World Series against the Yankees. And then he was part of the 2007 Red Sox who won the World Series. So he's a dual World Series championship. By the way, World Series MVP in 2007. 400 batting average, 500 on base, 800 slugging. They swept the Cardinals in 18 plate appearances. He had 6 hits, 1 home run, 4 RBIs. Beast. Guy's a beast. Yeah, you know what? I was thinking about putting him on my list, but he is not on my list. But you're a fraud. So I gave you my number 6. Who's your number 6?
My number 6 is a guy you already mentioned, Yadier Molina.
Yadi.
2 World Series, I believe. So one thing I wanted to mention about Jorge Posada before, the reason why he's even on my list, and he's not going to the Hall of Fame, but I think it says something when you play your whole career for one team.
Mm-hmm.
And that team has a bunch of success. They could have gotten rid of. He was a great hitter, though. But what I'm saying is like, if you need proof to why a guy is good, just look at his career. Played more than a decade for the same team. That team just so happened to win a bunch of World Series. He was there at the center of it. So the same goes for Yadier Molina. This guy's played for a long as hell time. He's still the starting catcher of the St. Louis Cardinals. I know he has 2 World Series. I don't know about 3. I know he has 2. I always thought Pujols had 3 with the Cardinals, and I think he might. But Yadier Molina, to me, even though he's not better statistically, a better hitter than Jorge Posada, I think he has 9 Gold Gloves.
Let's see.
He has
9 Gold Gloves.
He has 9 Gold Gloves, 8 in a row.
4 Platinum Gloves.
Wow. He has 8 Gold Gloves in a row from 2008 to 2015. Just as many All-Star appearances, couple of MVP nods there. So it's weird, man. It almost makes you feel like Jorge Posada doesn't have this kind of trophy display, right? But Yadier Molina does. We think Yadier Molina is headed to the Hall of Fame. To me, that's why he's ahead of guys like Jorge Posada and the other guys that I mentioned in the list.
I think that you have to put his glove in the mix too. You know, you have guys like Ozzie Smith in the Hall of Fame because of his defense, essentially. Yeah. Another Cardinal, by the way. You have to give Yadi credit for that too. And by the way, while you were talking, I just went in to Fangraphs and sorted it by catcher all time. Molina 16th with hits, 1987. Only 15 catchers have hit 2,000 or more hits. He'll be the 16th, and he'll climb up that list because I'm assuming he's going to play at least another season. If he plays another season, you have to assume he'll get another 100+ hits. He'll probably end up ahead of Joe Mauer, who I also think is a Hall of Fame catcher, and right behind Mike Piazza. So I think he's definitely in the Hall of Fame. No doubt about it.
Yeah. And that's why although the next guy that I'm going to mention won't be in the Hall of Fame, I feel like I had to put Yadi up there at number 6 because he is headed for the Hall of Fame. And if there's anybody who is a face of Puerto Rican players, it's Yadier Molina. Let's just be honest. Like, that guy's like, I'm trying to think of the comparison for Dominican players today. I want to say Albert Pujols, clearly, but he's a way better talent, I think, than Yadier Molina. So it's almost like a given, right?
Yeah.
But to me, Yadier Molina is just still like
Adrian Beltre.
Adrian Beltre is a good one, yeah. Even though he's also a better talent.
Yeah. Beltre is for me a first ballot Hall of Famer. So is Yadi, but Beltre was understated, embodied his culture the right way. Like I'm not trying to throw guys under the bus, but you had guys like Manny Ramirez, who was kind of a joke. Although I loved Manny, I'm not gonna lie, but Manny being Manny, you know what I mean? Like, not necessarily who you want to embody your culture. Not trying to say that he's a bad guy or anything, blah blah blah. But Adrian Beltre put up the numbers, played elite defensively, and represented the Dominican Republic the way we want to be represented. And I feel like Yadi Molina is very similar in that way. And they're both leaders too. Like, So yeah. Since I messed up the order, I'll go first. My number 5 is a guy who should be in the Hall of Fame, in my opinion. Underrated. You don't hear about him anymore so much. Carlos Delgado is my number 5.
Carlos Delgado. Nice.
And there's a bug in my room now, but I got his ass. You dead. Carlos Delgado. Leads all Puerto Rican players, as I mentioned before, in home runs. He has 473 career home runs. He leads all Puerto Rican players in OPS and slugging, I believe. So OPS 929, slugging 546. Has a career 383 on base percentage. This guy made 2 All-Star teams, 3-time Silver Slugger. I don't think he ever won a World Series, but was one of those guys that, let me see, he hit 30 or more home runs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 consecutive times. 11 for his career. Went 30 and 100, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times in his career. Led the league in OPS in 2003. Was runner-up in the MVP voting. Alex Rodriguez won that season. There you go. There's your mention. Fun fact, CT. Delgado's OPS was higher than Alex Rodriguez that season. A-Rod had more home runs. Probably why he won that award. Fraud. Delgado, man, I wanted to make him number 1 in my list, but I felt like the guys I had ahead of him are just slightly better, but you can make an argument for Delgado to be number one in my opinion.
Yeah, man, and I agree with everything you said. Let me give you my number 5. But yeah, Carlos Delgado, super consistent throughout his career, super deadly. Number 5 for me is Bernie Williams.
Oh yeah, let's go. Burn, baby, burn.
So like Manny mentioned, not only was so like
John Sterling.
I know, man. I wanted to make it awkward for you. So like Manny mentioned, Bernie Williams should be considered part of that core 4 over Jorge Posada.
Mm-hmm.
He's ranked higher on my list for that reason. I think he was more important to that late Yankees dynasty than Jorge Posada to me. And like I mentioned before, like this guy played his entire career playing center field for the Yankees. And I think that says a lot because, again, the Yankees could have had anybody playing center field for them. And it was Bernie Williams. I think he had like 15 years in his career.
16 seasons with the Yankees.
16 seasons with the New York Yankees, in which with him there, they won 4 championships. And this guy, I don't know if any more since then, but I know that at one point he was the all-time RBI leader in the postseason.
Yeah.
He probably still is. I'm pretty sure he still is. I mean, how many guys have appeared that many times in the postseason? And I know it's like the whole argument that you can have, well, he had to get to the postseason to have that record. Same thing with Jeter, having the most hits in the postseason, whatever. But those guys were there, man, and they came through. So to me, he's number 5. I don't know why I'm just going to mention this, but I could care less about his whole music thing. I think I always hear them sprinkle that in the Mike Francesa show when he goes to record at Bar A. But Bernie Williams, the player, number 5 on my list for the all-time Puerto Rican-born MLB players.
My number 4.
Actually, before you give your number 4, since you already mentioned it, Carlos Delgado is my number 4.
Nice.
And for all the reasons that you mentioned, all-time Puerto Rican leader in home runs, super deadly, again, all that mumbo jumbo. No need to spend too much time on it, but Carlos Delgado is my number 4.
Okay, and my number 4 is Bernie Williams. We swapped
okay.
positions on Bernie Williams. For you guys who love batting average, Bernie Williams hit 300 or better 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 consecutive seasons. He was the batting champion in 1998, hit 339 with a 422, 575 on base. Those are ridiculous. I mean, 422 on base, 575 slugging. Ridiculous numbers. One of the clutchest hitters you'll see. Weird. The guy was strange, but he just came up in the biggest moments. And I know that he won some controversial Gold Gloves in there. He was never the best center fielder, kind of like Derek Jeter won a lot of Gold Gloves at shortstop for the Yankees. But he did the job, and he manned the same position that Joe DiMaggio, Mickey Mantle did, and he did it for 16 consecutive seasons, and ended his career on a high note with a 281 batting average, hit 12 home runs, 61 RBIs. I love Bernie. He's my number 4. Number 3 for you. Top 3, man.
Number 3 for me is second baseman Roberto Alamar.
Damn.
That's right. Roberto Alamar was a solid player. A lot of all-star selections. A lot of Gold Gloves. A lot of MVP nods.
Mm-hmm.
Had a long career as well. Obviously not known for power. His highest career home run total was 24. But I gotta think he has to be second or third in the all-time Puerto Rican hits list. He has 2,724 hits for his career. That would be 4th all-time behind Carlos Beltran, Roberto Clemente. Not in this order, sorry.
Clemente, Pudge, and Beltran.
Yeah.
He's only behind Beltran by 1 hit.
Yeah, and I think he had less games, probably.
Let me see. Beltran, 20.
In over 200 less games.
Yeah.
Over 200 less games. Roberto Alamar, obviously, I'm not going to pretend like I watched his entire career, but he was still relevant when I started watching baseball. He's a Hall of Famer, known for his defense, known for hitting. Old school. Today's second basements like fucking Daniel Murphy, suck at defense, but hit a bunch of home runs. He's not this breed of, Robinson Cano who hits home runs and plays great defense, but that's what we were given back in the 90s, guys like Roberto Alamar. That's my number 3.
And he's my number 2, to jump ahead a little bit, and then I'll tell you who my number 3 is in a minute. But he did the little things right. Sure, he didn't hit 40 home runs, but he got on base a ton. He has a 371 career on base, got on base at 400 or better, at a 400 or better clip. I see at least a handful of times here. I
should have also thrown in there, he's the all-time stolen base leader by far as a Puerto Rican player.
Nice.
474.
Two World Series with the Toronto Blue Jays. He's my number 2 for me. My number 3 was the one and only Pudge Rodriguez. Is he not on your list?
Nah, man. I'm kidding. He's my number 3. He's my number 2.
Oh, okay. So he's
so we swapped.
Oh, right. Wait, he's my number 3. Yeah, Alomar's my number 2. We have a lot of swappages here. Again, implications of steroids. Put that aside. MVP, 14-time All-Star, 2003 World Series, 13 Gold Glove Awards, 7 Silver Sluggers, and he got the NLCS MVP for that against the Chicago Cubs. That the infamous, who was the kid that interfered with the foul ball?
I don't remember him. It's Steve something.
Yeah. So Pudge Rodriguez, right? Man. Steve something. Yeah, that's perfect. So
I had Pudge Rodriguez as my number 2, mostly because I feel like his accolades are better than Roberto Alamar. He could be considered the greatest catcher of all time, at least in our era. He was a better hitter than guys like Yadier Molina. Had a career 311 home runs. That's a lot for a catcher. So I thought, and he had a super long career as well. So that's, we pretty much, I think we all know where this is going, but that's my number 2.
Pudge. Worst nickname of all time, by the way.
Yeah, hey, Pudge.
Hey, Pudgy. He's number 3 all time F-WAR, Fangraphs WAR, behind Gary Carter, who has a 69.4, and Johnny Bench, who has a 74.8. Ivan Rodriguez has a 69.2. Ahead of Carlton Fisk and Yogi Berra and Mike Piazza and so on and so forth. All right, number 1 for me is Carlos Beltran.
Same for me too, man.
The guy did everything right.
Yeah. I gotta admit, I was upset when he was caught in the middle of all this shit that went on the last year, because I always liked Carlos Beltran as a player. Although when I was a kid, I got to be honest with you, I don't know why they always used to pit Dominicans against Puerto Ricans. And it was like him and Carlos Delgado versus like Manny and Ortiz type of feud that was going on. But you got to call it what it is, man. Carlos Beltran, 5-tool player, performed well in the postseason. Wish he had gotten his World Series. Did he? He never got that, right? Not with the Astros.
He was there in 2017. He was with them in 2017, yeah.
Thought it was with, okay. So good for him.
Well, that's when they made him and Alex Cora the masterminds behind this whole thing. And I'm sorry, it's not a Puerto Rican thing. The whole thing that happened isn't because they're minorities. So I'm not gonna go there. But they pinned it on them because they weren't a part of the organization anymore when this all went down. Yeah. Beltran was hired by the Mets to be their manager. Alex Cora was over in Boston. So all of a sudden, it's the two guys who are no longer with us are the ones who were the masterminds behind all the sign-stealing bullshit. I disagree with it. Beltran has always been a dynamic hitter, home run hitter, hits for average, hits for contact, does everything the right way. And as he got older, he became a very influential figure inside of clubhouses for the Yankees, for the Astros, for the Cardinals late in his life. And one thing that always stands out to me is his postseason production. I remember, I think it was with Houston early on. He just kept hitting home runs. I think it was like in the early 2000s. He was just a beast. I have it right here. In the NLDS and the NLCS in 2004 with the Cardinals, he hit 8 home runs total. And I think that was a record or something. The guy was a monster.
It's like 65 games, postseason batting, 1021 OPS.
Incredible. 307 batting average, 412 on base, 609 slugging. The guy was just one of those guys that you just rooted for anytime you saw him.
Yeah, he's third. He's second all time home runs for Puerto Rican born players. Third all time in hit. Has 300 stolen bases. 2,700 and change hits.
And real quick, I'm gonna plug a stat that I'm trying to work. I'm calling it net runs right now, and I'm calculating how many runs a player is responsible for, be it by the home run, be it by an RBI, all that stuff. RBI is repetitive, so I'm subtracting home runs from it, runs scored, runs produced, all that stuff. I'm calling it net runs. How many runs this one player has crossed the plate himself for and driven a player to score a run for via the home run or whatever. Anyway, talking a lot. He's responsible for 2,734 net runs. The next player is Roberto Clemente, 2,481. And he played about 150 games more, but still, that's a 300 run advantage, basically. That shows you that he was dynamic. He did it. It wasn't just a home run. It was a single, a slap single that to the other side that drove the runner in. It was a sac fly. It was, this guy did everything the right way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bring him back, guys. Forgive him.
Honestly, yeah, man. Carlos Beltran was a beast. Hall of Famer in my eyes. I don't know about you.
Oh yeah, for sure. 100%.
And that's pretty much our Roberto Clemente right there, man. I mean, if you want to look at like you could argue that he was a little better than Roberto Clemente in terms of like all around game.
Yeah.
And he is second all time Puerto Rican born players in WAR, if you care about that sort of stuff. So 9 All-Star game appearances. Beast all around. I'm glad that we both agree that he's the number one.
Is this the only one we agreed with?
No, I think we also agreed with.
We swapped a few players.
No, we agreed. We agreed on someone else. I remember. I'll tell you who it was right now. We agreed on Juan Gonzalez. Number 8.
Good list, man. A lot of great Puerto Rican players. I kind of want to do this for Dominicans next time, man.
Yeah.
And by the way, you made a good point when I found out about the Puerto Rican players wearing number 21 for Roberto Clemente Day tomorrow or today, 9/9. You said that he's like our Babe Ruth. And why shouldn't all players, just like Jackie Robinson, should wear number 21 to honor this guy, especially all Latino players, not just Puerto Rican players. And I agree 100%.
Yeah, like why make this exclusive? I get it. I mean, for people who are not aware, but for like Hispanics, like us being Dominicans, when Dominicans do something, it means more for us. Obviously, I get that. Like it's culture for everybody. Same thing goes for Puerto Ricans, Cubans, and everything. Like we're proud to we hold these guys up to a higher standard. We're proud to see these guys perform. Like they're our champions, right? But I feel like Roberto Clemente transcended all that. God knows how many Pirates fans there are because of this guy, right? So I'd almost feel like, I mean, the guy died. Didn't he die delivering food to people something in like Puerto Rico? It was some crazy plane crash shit that he went through. I think that this guy should be treated the same way we treat Jackie Robinson. Not that we should retire his number, I believe it was number 27 all across baseball.
Clemente 21.
21, okay. Not that we should retire his number all across baseball, but like for something like let's wear his number on Roberto Clemente Day. I mean, there's a reward that goes out to one player on each team every year. You don't think it makes sense to open this up to the entirety of MLB baseball? And that's the thing. It's a choice if you want to wear this number. It's not like everybody wears. It's not like the case where everybody wears the number 42 on Jackie Robinson Day, which is the best, which is a good thing, by the way. I'm happy that's the way it is. But if it's a choice, man, let it be everybody's choice to wear Roberto Clemente's number.
Yeah, I'm with you. I agree with that 100%. I was trying to think of who's our Roberto Clemente, and the first person that comes to mind is Juan Marichal for some reason. Just because of the time period that he played in. I think they played in similar eras, and he was, for me, a name that him and one of the Alus, like Felipe Alu or one of those guys.
Yeah.
He's just a name that I remember hearing growing up, and Dominicans were so proud of having a guy like him in the league, and he was so dominant.
In terms of time, I agree. In terms of what the reward that's named after him stands for, I almost have to feel like Albert Pujols is like our Roberto Clemente, almost like.
How about Pedro?
Well, I'm just saying, like, that Roberto Clemente reward goes out to people who give back to the community.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I think Albert Pujols, from what I've seen, man, I only follow his Instagram account, but it seems like he does the most.
Yeah.
Guys like him and Nelson Cruz, but just the fact that Albert Pujols is the higher tier of talent than
arguably the greatest of all time. Yeah,
probably is. But whatever, man. Roberto Clemente is our Roberto Clemente. I don't want to draw the line anymore between Dominicans and Puerto Ricans, man. I was brought up to believe that we had this like long lasting feud, which it's true on some level.
I haven't had, growing up, I never had an issue with anybody of Puerto Rican descent. I feel like if you bring that to the table, the division, you're gonna get division back. I feel like that's how it is, and I was just brought up to always treat everybody the same way. So
yeah, not that there was like a division, a competition, like a competitive, like our country versus your country. Same thing, like throw Cuba into there, throw Mexicans into there. I guess like we have that Caribbean series going on every year, so that's what I'm talking about. But I think Roberto Clemente is our Roberto Clemente.
I like that. Perfect way to finish it. That's it. That's all we got. Follow Luis at Hova Mojo on Twitter. Follow me at MannyGo3. Follow the show at WT The Show, and go to the website WTTSpod.com. Thanks for listening, everybody. Peace.